Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jordan and today I am coming at you from Los Angeles. I'm here pursuing my other passion, which is photography, and it's been wonderful, but that is why I have not been posting very much or at all, is because I've been working on that and traveling and doing all that. But today I am coming at you with a video that I'm super excited and nervous about. So I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but I've kind of been putting it off for three reasons. Number one is that there's just a lot to talk about, and trimming it down to fit into one video I was finding to be pretty much impossible. And that is why I have decided to make it a video series instead. Number two is that there's a lot of research, rereading, and rewatching involved in making this, so it's going to be a very time-consuming series, and I wanted to do it justice and have it be as evidence-based as I could, and to do that I would need to spend, or I will need to spend, a lot of time researching, rereading books, and rewatching their adaptations. And number three, and this is probably the biggest reason, is that this is going to be very opinion-based. It is subjective, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for it because my opinions are my own and I'm very picky and I have a lot of opinions on this subject. And yeah, it is. Anyways, I know that I will get some hate for these videos, but I just thought I would share what I think makes a good adaptation. So as you've read by the title and inferred by me talking about adaptations, you obviously know that I'm going to be talking about book-to-movie adaptations, and I'm framing it in a YA book-to-movie adaptations box because this is just such a huge topic, and I think that my points are going to be pretty general and apply kind of across the board to book-to-movie adaptations, but just keeping in the framework of YA is a little bit more contained, and I think will be a better fit for this series. So some of these adaptations I love, some of them I despise, and my thoughts don't necessarily line up with how well they did in the box office or even public opinion of how these movies were adapted. So there's some things that I love that other people hate, there's some things that I hate that other people love. So again, bear in mind that these are my opinions and not facts, and I guess I'm just going to try to back up my opinions with as much evidence as I can and share with you what I think makes a good adaptation, and we'll just go from there. Side note, I'm going to just disclaimer the heck out of these videos. I know that's super annoying, but I feel like I have to because, again, opinion-based. So to clarify, like I've said a couple times, I'm going to be looking at book-to-movie adaptations. I'm not going to be looking at book-to-TV show adaptations because I think that's a separate thing entirely. And that has separate kind of things that make a good adaptation just because of the framework. So I am going to be looking at book to movie adaptations, but I may reference, I can't promise that I won't reference TV shows, I just won't be talking about them extensively. I will also be focusing on more recent adaptations, so anything before Harry Potter Chronicles of Narnia probably won't be mentioned much. I'm kind of looking at Harry Potter / Chronicles of Narnia to some of the more recent ones like Divergent, Mortal Instruments, things like that. So that's kind of the time frame, but again, I may mention other adaptations that came before it. Just thought I'd clarify. But that is about it for the intro and disclaimers, so I guess now it's time to dive into the video. I think a good place to start is to look at the publishing and the film industries, and there is a lot in common between those two industries. Namely, they both want to turn a profit from selling stories, and they want the safest investments that they can possibly make. So let's start with the publishing industry. Young adult literature has kind of exploded in the last 2 decades, and the turning point for that was Harry Potter. Now that's not to say that there wasn't young adult literature before that, of course there was. There's been books targeted towards 12 to 18-year-olds for decades, almost a century. So that's not new, but the popularity of those books have kind of ebbed and flowed until, of course, Harry Potter. Since Harry Potter, we've seen 2 decades of an expanding market with worldwide successes like The Hunger Games, Divergent, the Mortal Instruments series, and of course Twilight. And why do successes like these shape an industry? Well, it's because publishers take notice. When a big hit comes, like The Hunger Games, you're gonna get publishers pushing out stories that kind of fit that genre or mold, they'll find similar stories and pump those out, trying to ride the wave of success of the original material. So that's why after the Hunger Games, we got an explosion of dystopian novels. After Harry Potter, we got a slew of wizarding novels or magic, fantasy. Publishers definitely take notice and pump out those novels until bookshelves become saturated with it, the public moves on, and it's just a waiting game until the next big thing. Similarly, the film industry likes to ride off of the success of others. The number of original screenplays being produced by big studios has decreased significantly. Most movies that are now being pumped out are sequels, true life stories, or of course adaptations, which already have a built-in audience and are a pretty safe bet. Or they were. Recent box office flops like Divergent and the Mortal Instruments series have shown that this is not always the case though, and I think studios are going to start to realize that you actually have to make a good movie for people to want to spend their hard-earned money on it, especially after all the flops this past summer. The problem with adaptations, and the thing that makes them so tricky, is that you have two audiences. You have the audience that is familiar with the source material and wants you to kind of stay true to that. They want to see an adaptation that reflects their knowledge and their experience with the source material, and then you have the audience who is unfamiliar with the source material and they want a movie that's good and that makes sense to them without having read or being familiar with the source material. Basically, it means that you're gonna have to fry some babies, and this is gonna be a topic of a video all on its own. Another thing that I'm gonna talk about in this series, which is kind of in the same vein, is that film and books are completely different in their mediums. There are things that are going to work in books and in written word that will not translate into film, and the same is true with the opposite. Casting is another thing that is incredibly important when creating an adaptation, and that also deserves a video of its own because I think that there are so many instances, especially in Hollywood, where I think the casting has been done terribly and it is kind of completely set the adaptation on a course for failure. So that is going to have a video of its own as well. The overall message and focus of the adaptation and versus the book is going to be another video as well. I think that this is incredibly important, and I think that sometimes the message gets lost when you're adapting things. This also kind of goes along in the same vein as the first thing that I mentioned. But yeah, I think this kind of deserves a video on its own. There's lots of things that I'm going to talk about. I'm probably going to come up with more things as I start this series. So I'm not sure exactly how many videos it's going to be in the end, but I do know that there's a lot of material to cover and I do have a lot of thoughts on this. Now, you may be thinking, well, Jordan, why on earth are you qualified to tell us about adaptations? I'm not. As an avid reader and moviegoer though, I do have many opinions on the subject. As a writer, I have thought about it a lot, and as someone who might want to go into film, again, I've thought about this topic frequently. Another thing is my dad is in the film industry and I've talked to him extensively before starting this video series, and he's kind of the one who made me realize that I should probably make it a series rather than just a video, because there is so much to cover and some of these rules are not hard rules. They're just kind of guidelines, because there are rules that are broken, rules that I'm going to say that get broken, and the adaptations are still amazing. So there's a lot to cover, and that's I think why I'm keeping it in the parameters of like YA, is because otherwise it'd just be so expansive. Like I would just never ever stop doing this series. So I guess that is what makes me qualified to do this, and also why I chose these guidelines for myself. So I guess this is it for this little introductory video to what I'm gonna do. This series is gonna be kind of a work in progress, so it's not gonna come all at once. I'm probably gonna do videos between this and some of the other videos in the series, but I just wanted to keep you in the loop. If you guys have any book to movie adaptations that you liked, that you didn't like, let me know down below in the comments, especially if they are YA. Also let me know your thoughts on this. If you have any opinions on what makes a good book to movie adaptation, be sure to leave them down below. I'm gonna read the comments, I'm gonna think about it some more, let it marinate, and then hopefully this series will kind of help you think about what makes an adaptation good, maybe you'll disagree with me. I would just like to spark a conversation with this more than anything, because again, this is very subjective. And yeah, there's things that I don't think about, and there's things that you will definitely think about that I haven't really touched on. So if you have any thoughts, please, please, please leave them down below. If you like the concept of the series, please give it a thumbs up, and I will know that you love it, which is great, because then I'm going to spend a lot more time focused on making it killer. So give it a thumbs up if you like the idea of this series, if you're looking forward to it. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see the videos when they come out. All that jazz. I am super excited about this series. I hope you guys are too, because I am super excited to revisit all of the books and movies from my childhood, and super not excited to revisit some of them, like Twilight. But it's happening for you because I love you guys. Anyways, that is all I have for you today. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you next time.